Good news, everyone! I have returned. And today we're talking about unused type combinations because, believe it or not, there's still quite a few. And I'm making designs to represent those. Enough said, let's get into it. Starting out, we have Fire Fairy. It's a typing that we probably could have got, and if I had to guess, probably should have got in Gen 6 with Delphox. Because if you ask me, I think it's pretty likely Fairy was added last minute, and then they just never got around to changing Delphox. But anyway, Fire Fairy, it's a pretty decent type. It's not bad by any means, but it's kind of difficult to make a design for that hasn't already been done. The most famous design that you'll see for Fire Fairy is, of course, some form of cooked food or roasted dessert. And I'm keeping in line with that because I have a way to do it. And that led to Roast-a-Toast, which is quite literally just a being made of fire with two sticks in the middle that serve as the fuel source with marshmallow boxing gloves. It was rather simple, just like being made of fire, sweet treat that you associate with fire, bada bing, bada boom, Fire Fairy. Fire Fairy is a very easy typing to make stuff for, because a decent amount of sweet treats, which are fairy type, need to be baked or in some form messed with or heated. So Fire Fairy is understandably really, really easy to do. And in this situation, it's no different. Roast-a-Toast, the toasty Pokémon, a Fire Fairy type. Now, moving on to a typing that we really should have already had, Normal Bug. Now look, I understand, normal bug, they're doing their thing. Normal's the sound type, or, well, that's what people like to say. It's actually the creative type, hence why Arceus, god of creation, is normal type. Smeargle as well. So creation being the normal type, there's literally two bugs that are just pure bug type. They're music conductors. The guys that conduct the entire orchestra to create the music. Kricketot, and at the very least Kricketune, who literally has tune in its name, should have been normal type. I'm just gonna die on that hill. Bug normal would have made so much sense for Kricketune. Not to mention, it would have helped it, because it having normal type and potentially getting access to Boom Burst because of that would have been insane for it. But in the past, I did a bug normal type, Krikarp. Now, this was actually done as a group project with a bunch of other people. We just never ended up posting it as the group project. We posted it on our own a couple times. I just never posted mine because, for the most part, they were old and I didn't really feel like posting them. But Krikarp is a cricket, obviously, but it also plays on the word harp, which, quite famously, those instruments you see the angels playing in the movies where they like that sort of thing, and then ding 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 is playing on their harp as they float down. And I figured, like, a cricket has those long legs, and then putting silk between them, you get kind of a harp. So why not? I mean, it's a fun way to utilize cricket legs that Pokemon hasn't used yet, and it gives Kricketune someone to conduct. So when it came to Bug Normal, I already had a design, so it was pretty easy for me at least. It does have the sort of, like, jacket tossed over its back, like, some musicians do. Like, they have those, curtails, I think that's what they're called, on the back of their coats that they flip out and then sit down, and then it's got the tails, and then it looks fancy, but I don't know how fancy it is. Probably pretty fancy, but, I'm rambling. Krikarp. Cricket, harp. Pretty simple name there. And then it's playing its little leg. It's playing its silk leg, just ding 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 ding. Because what else are you gonna do on a Saturday night, Krikarp, the Harmony Pokemon, a normal bug type. Now we get to a design that yeah, it's kind of dark, but given the typing is Ghost Rock, yeah, it's gonna be a bit dark. Look, Ghost type is something. And ghost types are normally pretty spooky or dark or scary. And we probably could have already gotten a ghost rock type. I mean, Spiritomb is pretty famously the evil spirits and the keystone rock ghost. Runarigus is a giant rune stone, so, that could have worked. But as for this specific design, its inspiration is darker than Pokemon might do. But then again, they've done some pretty messed up origins, and their lore can sometimes get pretty bad. So, I don't know if it's specifically something Pokemon might eventually do, but for Ainjon, it's based on the idea of stone pressing, which was an execution method used at the Salem witch trials, and many times before, where a person would be crushed under giant stone slabs as a manner of execution. And it's not the only time rocks were used as a execution or torture method when it comes to biblical stuff, because stoning is a thing, very much so. And there is that one famous biblical story where someone was sentenced to execution via stoning, and then Jesus came down and said, "He who has not sinned shall throw the first stone," and no one threw anything because they've all sinned at some point, one time or another. It's kind of a dark inspiration, but so are some of the other ghost types. And it's not like I'm super referencing it, because yeah, there's two stone blocks squished together with some ghost energy coming from between them and like a broken halo coming around the spectral head. But aside from that, it's nothing super edgy. It's just the inspiration is a little dark. But given the other times that Pokemon has not made a design ghost rock type, I needed something that is indisputably rock type. And I can't think of anything more ghost rock tied together than these two execution methods. You could maybe try to weasel the dark type in there, but even then, that's a real big stretch, considering how closely knit ghost and rock type are to this thing's inspirations. With how many times Pokemon has screwed over the ghost rock type, it needed to be so concrete, no pun intended, that they can't change the typing to something else. So as I said, kind of dark inspiration-wise, but design-wise, not really. Ainjon from Angel and Gone, the pressed stone Pokemon, a ghost rock type. Then, lastly for today, we have Ice Poison. Now, Ice Poison is interesting, but it's not super difficult, especially if we enter into the realm of sci-fi for our inspirations. So first off, we need the ice part, and, well, pretty famously, space is an ice-cold void. And with there being famous tropes like cryogenically being frozen to survive long space voyages, it was kind of easy to tie the ice type into space. But then how do we get the poison type? Well, not only is space, extremely deadly if you're not protected from it, but as humans, we did experiment by sending animals up there, namely a few monkeys and even a dog or two. So a monkey in a spacesuit kind of makes a bit of sense. Though also, we can take the spacesuit part and make it into a quarantine suit, because they serve very similar purposes to protect you from an outside thing that's all around you. Just one is a virus, one is space. Not to mention the constant sci-fi trope of scary, spooky space virus. It's been done in many tropes. For instance, Marvel had the Inhuman gas stuff, DC had Deceased, and I could just go on and on and on and on about the whole volatile space thing that we don't understand virus trope. There is a lot of examples of it, so a spacefaring voyaging monkey that's cryogenically frozen into a spacesuit/quarantine suit makes sense. Also, quite a few diseases have come from monkeys and primates. I mean, quite famously, you have AIDS, there's monkeys in Florida, specifically macaques, carrying one of the hepatitis varieties. There's monkeypox, which, in the name. So when it comes to monkeys and their ties to viruses and stuff like that, It's not their fault, I mean, they just happen to share a decent bit of their DNA with us, and as such, zoonotic diseases are more than possible. But there is a precedent for it, and we have sent monkeys up into space before, so seemed like the pretty obvious choice. Voyaki from Voyager and Monkey, the Spacefarer Pokémon, an ice poison type. Anyway, I think that's all for today, so, anyway, this is Jay, signing away, forever and always. Bye-bye!